Hey everyone, welcome back to Miniature Painting 101, a series of videos where we teach you all about painting miniatures from start to finish and everything in between, including camo, which we've been doing for several weeks, and now I'm going to do blue winter camo. After last week's people said, well, what if I want to do a blue winter / ice themed camouflage, and I'm going to show you that today in a slightly different pattern as always. So today, of course, we'll start off by priming the bottle gray on this main blade. And we're going to start off with a ghost white, which is a white with a slightly blue tint. It's slightly colder than normal white, and that's what we want for a winter ice-themed model. So this pattern is going to be slightly different than the other patterns, as I said. And feel free to use this pattern with different colors or however you wish. So today's pattern, we're going to start off by creating a really big vein of ghost white along the entire bane blade section. So we're going to start off and connect it and run it around, and basically different, you want it to be slightly different shapes and sizes, but you want it all intertwined in one big vein, as I said. One vein pattern. And it's going to break up the parts into many sections. And then we're going to go back with blues and fill in those sections with just camo patterns. So as you can see here, I'm just bending it around these veins, and feel free if you want to have a nice perfectly wavy, but as I've done in previous episodes, as we go on with darker and darker colors, we're going to clean up the pattern more and more so that it's nice and round and smooth and make it interesting as well. So as you see, I'm just going to bend it around the surfaces and continue it along the top part of the bane blade and continue it along the entire area. And you see, just going in different directions and different thicknesses, different shapes, different bends, and that's it. So the key is now to break up the bane blade into many parts. As you can see, these little sections, and we're going to just do each section with a selection of blues, 3 different ice blues from the Citadel range. Now, for my Ghost White, I didn't thin it down. I should mention that because it is a Reaper paint. I didn't thin it down at all. It's nice and thin to begin with. But now I'm going to use LOTHERN Blue, which is the lightest of like ice blue trilogy of colors from Citadel. And I thinned it down with some Lamia Medium, that way it's nice and thin. And as I did in previous videos, I'm going to go along the edges now of the white because I broke it up in different sections. Pretty much every area that I start the blues in, it will connect to a white, or at least a previous blue. And so as I did in the previous videos, I'm going to create a nice bendy wave pattern along these sections, but also whenever you intersect a previous color, use this color to clean it up and create a nice smooth edge around it and create some rounding. So as you can see, I always go slightly over the white because that way I can clean it up, make sure there's no gray primer in between, and then I can kind of clean up the white as I go and create the nice groovy pattern. So as you see right now, I'm just using my icy blue, LOTHERN blue, and just going around the tank and paint it some camo patterns along all the surface, and most of them will connect to a white, as you can see. But I'm using a large brush as always, and in some areas I do a second coat just to make sure it's nice and solid. That's what the key is. Always do a second coat if you feel this first one is too thin. It's better to do 2 thinner coats and keep the detail intact as opposed to a nice clumpy coat that will obscure the detail, right? So, as you can see now, it's starting to fill in quite nicely. And with each step, we're just going to fill more and more gray in as we go and create that wavy camo pattern. And slowly but surely, and the key, as I said, bend it around the section so that it's always continuous, and get a nice solid coat before proceeding to the next color, and clean up as you go. So after that's completely done, the LOTHERN blue is now done, it's time to go to the next darkest color, which is TECLIS blue, a mid-tone blue, once again, the same trilogy of colors from Citadel. And now I'm going to go and paint some more areas of the gray, and once again clean up the blues and the whites as I go and create a nice wavy pattern that's nice and smooth. And that's pretty much it. That's all I'm going to do for the next few steps, and just choose a subsect of the previous gray, and some of it's going to be TECLIS blue and the other part is going to be CALEDOR sky. So now I'm just going to paint about half the remaining gray areas on the model with TECLIS blue, cleaning up the LOTHERN blue and bending it a little bit so that it's a little more wavy, and bending and cleaning up the areas of the ghost white. That's a cool thing about camo. You can kind of do any pattern you really wish, and you can blend it all together, and it looks a really cool effect in the end by just doing these little steps one at a time. As you see, I'm using a large brush, as large of a brush as I can get away with because it's such a large model. And as you see now, with each step, the pattern just kind of reveals itself, kind of like one of those cool puzzles where you used to stare into and the pattern reveals itself eventually. And there we go with TECLIS blue. As you can see, I'm leaving a bit of gray left. And now it's time to go with the final color, CALEDOR Sky. And this is going to be the darkest blue that we're going to use, and we're just going to paint the remaining gray areas, clean up all the areas that it touches with, and finalize our camo pattern. This is our ice blue camo pattern, or blue winter camo pattern. But as you can see, it is very cold, because all the blues and the ghost white, which is an off-white to the colder range anyway, it is nice and cool, and this pattern does have that really winter camo pattern theme to it. So as you see now, I'm going to just go all the areas that are gray and paint them accordingly. This pattern is very distinct to each pattern I've done through these last few videos. I want to do a different pattern each time, just to show you various ways of camo, as well as different colors to match a specific feel. As you now just bending it around. Get a nice solid coat of CALEDOR Sky. And as you see, the veins have become quite interestingly shaped as we've continued on throughout this video. And that's it. So now hit me up. As you can see, in the end, it's a really cool camo, cold, icy camo pattern. And I really like how the white just really pops out at you, and the rest are just cold blues, and definitely comes off as a blue winter ice camo pattern. And that's about it. As we did, start with the lightest color, work your way towards the darkest, clean up as you go, create your own pattern, have a good time. Use a large brush. And that's it. So as always, thank you so much for watching this episode of Miniature Painting 101. I really hope you enjoyed and learned a bit about painting camo. Stay tuned for next week's episode, part 133, which is just around the corner. But if you don't want to wait for next week, check out The Warp. Click on the link below for a free 14-day trial to my premium YouTube channel. We not only get to see the next 6 months worth of Miniature Painting 101 episodes for anyone else, you get to see over 100 start-to-finish painting tutorials, battle reports, face-off episodes, and Airbrush 101 series, and Q&J, Warp Edition. Just go check out The Warp. I know you'll love it, so stay tuned for more videos. Until next time, this is Jay saying, happy painting, everyone.